everybody. It's Allie. And welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, January 14th, 2024. Could Victoria not have just taken a commercial flight? Or couldn't she have just chartered her own private jet to take Claire to go see Jordan? What a spoiled brat. She stood there saying, "Daddy, can I borrow your airplane to take my new old daughter to go confront the woman who basically destroyed Mom's life? Basically destroyed Mom's sobriety." Ugh. How can Jordan possibly be so bad and so good all at the same time? Ugh. I love her. Even in an orange jumpsuit and flat hair, this woman is over the top. She tried sweet talking Claire, saying that everything she ever did, she did for her. But then when it was clear that Claire's legit, Claire wants change, she wants to go into the light, when it was clear that Claire was not on Jordan's side, Jordan flipped her switch back to evil, and the guard had to drag her out of the prison meeting room while Jordan was pointing her finger at Claire and casting a spell, I think, on the way out. Ooh. Jordan said that she still has plans for revenge on the Newmans. God, I hope so. I really, really hope so for 2024. Because, yeah, the path of, well, self-destruction that Jordan set Nikki on is terrible, but it is very good soapy drama. It is very shocking to see just how far down the hole Nikki has dug herself. I mean, she had some help, but she's doing it on her, by her own choice now. And Victor agreeing to help Victoria, help Claire, that just made Nikki feel more isolated. The scene when Nikki had locked herself in her office and Victor was outside of her office door knocking, saying, are you in there, my baby? But Nikki was on the inside, just remaining very quiet, ignoring him, hoping that she was not going to be heard, just swigging from her flask with a picture of Nikki and Victor in the foreground. I just thought that scene perfectly highlighted the way that her addiction has now isolated her. The addiction has become her safe space instead of her family and friends. She thinks that the addiction is helping her, but it's really fueling the problem and delaying her actually dealing with it. And that's what addiction is. That's how addiction works. And she knows that deep down. She had the right instinct early in the week, calling her a creepy, overzealous sponsor when she had the urge to drink. But I mean, that only saved her one time, and there's 24 hours in a day and a million different potential triggers for her. It seems too like there's been an increase in how completely sloppy she is. It started out with little drinks and just taking the edge off, and now we're really seeing how each relapse is becoming more messy. She had a heck of a way maneuvering herself through the revolving doors of the athletic club, which I found very entertaining to watch, especially because, I mean, am I the only one who has trouble with revolving doors? Completely sober, I have trouble with revolving doors. Like, every time I step into one and you're in that, there's like that 3-second gap where you're in the revolving door, and I always have a panic attack, like, am I gonna get stuck in here? Am I gonna catch my foot on the inside or the back side of the door, and I'm gonna get stuck and I'm gonna run out of oxygen in here? Thank goodness that Lauren was there to help usher Nikki to safety and to help her not get caught immediately. Lauren took Nikki up to a room, booked her a room, ordered her some coffee, or maybe tea. No, coffee. It was coffee. It was specifically coffee. And then Lauren said that she was going to cover for Nikki when Victor called. And Lauren answered the phone, and because Victor was calling furiously, and Lauren answered the phone and told Victor that Nikki couldn't come to the phone right now because Lauren had a fashion emergency, and Nikki was going to be helping her work on that all night long. And Victor said, yeah, she's been drinking, right? And Lauren was like, yeah, totally. I'm laughing, but it's sad. I'm making light for entertainment purposes, but it is very sad. Lauren apparently tucked Nikki into bed, lipstick and all. I don't know if you noticed, but there was lipstick on the pillow when she woke up in the morning. That felt very real, very just like, oh, she just passed out there. That's how drunk she was. And Lauren stayed with Nikki until about dawn, when I guess she couldn't take it anymore. She had to get out of there. She's got, a career. And so Lauren called this strange man to come over and stay in the room with Nikki so that Nikki wasn't alone in the room when she woke up. And am I the only one who found that to be wholly inappropriate? We don't know this guy. We don't know him. Don't leave him in the room with Nikki for even 1 second. I don't trust him. I think he's working for Jordan, because Jordan said she has plans, and this guy seems like just the right kind of creep who would be working for her. He's too much. He's too overzealous. He's too nice. I don't trust him. And Victor also shared my instinct. He told Nikki that he's not sure about this sponsor. He thinks she needs a new sponsor. I agree. And maybe that can be Jack? Because we saw in the previews that Lauren is meeting with Jack next week, and she is essentially throwing her hands up in the air, saying, I don't know what to do about this. I mean, Lauren doesn't exactly, I don't think she has maybe this type of experience. I mean, sponsors, counselors, they're all trained. Lauren's just Lauren. She just walked into the club one day, and now she's got this problem in her lap while she's probably still dealing with Gloria hanging out at her apartment all day. I was actually kind of surprised that Nikki didn't go on a tirade with Lauren about how bad it is that Michael is helping Victoria to fulfill Claire's requests. Oh, speaking of Victoria, I actually could not believe that Y&R finally took the time to give some resolution to Victoria and Nate's breakup and relationship and telling us where they stand. Because I don't even remember Victoria and Nate officially breaking up. I think it was just assumed. But I'm glad to know that they still have a friendship and that Victoria can still talk to Nate and that he is willing to listen. And I think that speaks volumes in retrospect about what his intentions were with her. I don't think he was ever with her just for her power. The fact that now she has no power, and he knew it. He straight up knew it. I mean, he acknowledged the fact that she has taken a leave of absence from Newman, and he still wants to be there for her. I think that says it all. Ugh. Nate, the enemy of the Newman family, helping to identify Nikki's relapse and helping to be there for Victoria. I mean, clearly this guy has an agenda. I just don't get it. I never got it. Victoria did tell Nate, interestingly, that Claire has turned out to be her daughter. And now I'm thinking back on those couple of scenes where we saw Claire kind of sort of hitting on Nate. Like she asked him if he would want to maybe meet outside the office one night and talk about regular blah blah. And in retrospect, I'm kind of wondering if in those moments Claire was wanting specifically to hurt Victoria by stealing her boyfriend. Maybe that was Claire's little side agenda back then. Or was that maybe possibly even a little bit of foreshadowing for a relationship to come? I mean, will Claire end up going straight out of the mental hospital and into the arms of a loving doctor? I don't particularly want to see that. I would much rather see a payoff for all of the Nate and Audra past flirting. I mean, Audra seems a little more available now. Nate's available now. Those two definitely were circling each other. So who knows? That could be a potential pairing for 2024. Audra seems to have declared her independence from, well, both Tucker and Kyle. She's declaring her independence. I mean, Tucker did intentionally keep her name out of the media for the big scandal and whatnot. But I think Audra seems for 2024 to be resolved to look out for herself and to maybe, go independent, not be reliant on either of her lovers to get her anywhere. She busted Kyle out to Tucker, telling Tucker that Kyle was essentially setting him up for corporate theft, and that totally blew up the plan for the Abbotts. So, way to go, Kyle. Why did you have to tell Audra the truth in the first place? The whole plan to set Tucker up, like, it was set. Part 1 was releasing the article about him. Part 2 was setting him up for the corporate theft. Part 3 would have just have been to sit back and enjoy the victory. But Kyle had to go and tell Audra, someone who he knows was close to Tucker. I mean, Kyle, you could have had Tucker if you would have kept your mouth shut. Yeah, I just feel like Kyle made the mistake of telling Audra, and then, like a child, lashed out and punched Tucker. He was so mad about it. I mean, it's entertaining, but I mean, and I'm sorry to be, I'm going to be an armchair psychologist here, but I think we could all agree that Kyle was in fact mad at himself. Internally, Kyle was mad at himself for blowing up his big plan to prove himself to his daddy. And that's why he punched Tucker. Punching Tucker was really Kyle wanting to punch himself. the inside. uh, that'll be $75, please. Thank you. Who needs Sharon? I'll be the new town psychologist. Tucker took the punch pretty well, though, of course. He took it with all of the Tucker's brand of good humor. And it was fun to watch. I loved him, clearly wiping the blood out of his lip. I mean, he really owned it. He was wiping the inside and outside of the lip. He really was nursing the wound. And Audra was right there the whole time, stuck in the middle of it, and she seemed to take Tucker's side. I think she just didn't like the act of violence, and she's like, someone's hurt, I feel like I'm learning more about Audra and connecting more with Audra every week. It seemed like she was kind of leaning toward Tucker, because then she, lashed out at Kyle, but then she later disassociated herself with Tucker. So I just think they're all mad at each other now, and I don't know if they're going to end up coming back together or not, because, Kyle and Audra, it seems like Y&R has been building this love you, hate you, want to screw you kind of situation with them, almost like the dynamic that Audra has with Tucker. It feels like it's being transferred from Audra and Tucker to Audra and Kyle, but I could be wrong. Maybe Kyle and Audra are done, and Kyle will have a new full-time job being the soul bump in the road for Summer and Chance, because we saw in Sharon's dream last week, Kyle and Harrison were there. So it's possible that Summer's going to find herself pulled between Kyle and Harrison and Chance. There wasn't a ton of follow-up on that, though. This week, Sharon told Nick very gleefully that she and Chance had broken up. She's feeling great about it. She dumped her hunky boyfriend, and she is feeling great about it. But Chance did not tell Summer. He hasn't had a chance to yet. I think he just didn't want to dump on Summer after she bought him a whole new wardrobe. Yes. I am positive that guys like Chance absolutely love being dressed up like dolls by women. I'm sure he was all about that. I think guys like Chance love being dressed up like dolls by women about as much as pets like wearing Halloween costumes. Oh, Ashley. Oh, Ashley. Well, I have to say, this character study, this moment, this little mini story that's almost not even a story, is my favorite of the year so far. I mean, of the past 14 days, this is the best thing to come out of it. The fact that we have this incident between Tucker and Ashley, the fight in the Parisian cafe, and we have two totally different takes on it, and the audience doesn't know which one is true. That is pure creative genius to me right there. It's nuance. Because the fact of the matter is, reality is subjective. Yes. Now we have something truly psychological to sink our teeth into. The truth is, people can view the same situation in two totally different ways. We all look at life through our own personal lenses, and that lens is informed by our own previous experiences, or our emotional state, or even our physical proximity to an event. So it's entirely possible that both Tucker and Ashley are right, and that both Tucker and Ashley are wrong. Woo, I love that! I love that. subtlety. I just think it's amazing, the idea that Tucker, through his lens, could perceive himself as, yes, doing the physical act of dropping the glass and moving the chair out of the way as he was leaving the cafe, but also that Ashley, through her lens, could perceive him as doing it with violence, that could perceive it as a violent act that was informed by the argument that they had had just before. What really bothered me about those scenes was not the wine glass or the chair. It was the mocking tone that Tucker had, saying, "Oh, boo-hoo, Ashley, and I don't care where you sleep tonight," and just throwing the childish little verbal tantrum that he was throwing with his words. That's what bothered me. But then again, that was in Ashley's version only. And now, because of this potential misunderstanding, Ashley is questioning her perception of what happened, wondering if she did misinterpret it all. Now, I'm not ruling out the possibility that Tucker is intentionally gaslighting Ashley. It's just that personally, I enjoy chewing on the ambiguity of it all rather than just letting it be black or white. I think the gray has a lot more flavor. Everything is coming up Adam. 2024 is going to be the year of Adam, I think. It's like all of a sudden his life just came together right before our very eyes. He's happy. He's healthy. He's productive. And he's getting laid. What could anyone ask for more? I'm totally getting back on board for the Adam and Sally reunion with the focus not on forgetting the past, not on some uncertain, unnamed future, but with the focus on the joy of the here and the now, and just having fun and being together and seeing where it goes. I loved their little dinner date where she was eating off of his plate. Even though he said they ordered the same thing. That's just adorable. I'm sure that his plate just tastes better. Everything just tastes better if it's on his plate. And then instead of staying for the athletic club's famous tiramisu, Sally invites Adam up to her room for some chocolate truffles, which she accidentally totally forgot that she totally ate. That's great. "Oh, I have some chocolate truffles up in my room." Opens the box. "Oops, I ate all the good ones." "Oh, well, guess you'll just have to eat me for dessert." Oh, that's great. That is great. Even Nick seems to be okay with it. He is accepting that their reunion was inevitable. And it's crazy how much things have changed. Like, instead of seeing Nick and Sally together with Adam saying, "Oh," now we're seeing Adam and Sally together with Nick saying, That's how that triangle has changed for the upcoming year. Nick's just like, "Oh, never mind. Forget the gasp. Go for it, bud. Go for it, buddy. Buddy bro." Because Adam and Nick are buddy bros now. Buddies, bros, and co-CEOs. That rhymes. I'm proud of that. Buddies, bros, and co-CEOs. Oh, I love it. And the look of satisfaction on Victor's face. His 2 male children running the company together. Just like he always secretly wanted. Oh, yes. I don't know about this whole Newman real ventures thing, though. Real ventures. It doesn't sound like a boutique name. It sounds like a travel agency name. Like Nick and Adam should be planning people's scuba diving excursions or something. The end is in the beginning. That was our quote from last week. It was so mysterious. The end is in the beginning. I'm telling you, David Lynch. That quote came from Chance. He said it at the very end of Sharon's dream. The end is in the beginning, which to me says it's foreshadowing for 2024. The end game for Sharon is in the beginning, how she started, which was in love with Nick. The end game for Sharon was the beginning. That was so good. I loved that moment. So congratulations to Victoria, Ron, Dolores, Justin, Sue W, Sharon W, and good old Marky. You guys all guessed that it was Chance. Let's see if you can guess this one. I don't need any of this damn drama. Said a soap fan. Never. I can tell you who didn't say it. A soap fan. We love all of this damn drama. But who do you think said that? I don't need any of this damn drama. If you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, then I will give you your shout out during next Sunday's Y&R Chat. And now onto your comments, starting with Tina Cole, who says, I so much love Adam and Nick bonding rather than being completely at odds with each other. They don't need to be the best of friends, but having some form of brotherly bond is so nice to see. I think they can have great humor with each other. Yeah, the Adam and Nick scenes were very funny, right? I mean, it was just nice to have that levity. That tension is there. These are 2 guys whose personalities are probably always going to grind on each other. But they were getting along, and that's a recipe for being pretty entertaining, I think. But Gary says Adam is so freaking nice to Nick and tries to play with him, but Nick is a big grouch who forgets that Adam saved his daughter's life. Quote, I thought that love fest we pulled off for Sharon was real, says Adam, but no cigar. Yeah, it's true. Adam has to beg for every single crumb of affection that he has ever gotten from anyone in his family, the Newman family, and that is never going to change. But what has changed is Adam's love life. Kamna says, I loved everything about the Adam and Sally reunion. The Italian sparkling water was so cute. Sally smiling and glowing, the come up for truffles invitation, and the tenderness. And I don't think I've seen Adam smile that wide in a very long time. Please, Y&R, give them a happy 2024. Maybe even ending in a wedding. That's great. The chatters are already planning a year ahead. We're already planning our New Year's Eve 2024-25 wedding. I mean, you got to get ahead of this these days. How do we know if society will even be open? Somebody call Abby. We got to plan ahead. Yeah, Adam and Sally really are very perfect for each other. Why did it take us so long to get here? Sue W. says, it'll be interesting to see where things go with these two. It seems to me as almost too predictably cliched that Adam and Sally will at last fall back together as, finally on the same page, soulmates, be deliriously in love and then have a healthy baby to make their dreams come true. Okay, sure, I could go with that right now. But I'm kind of blah regarding both of these characters, but ready to happily buy whatever Mark Grossman and Courtney Hope will be selling. Curious to see how this all plays out. Well, and Diana says, I agree 100% about the blah with these two. I cannot help but to find their romance extremely boring. I would love to see Adam with anyone but Sally. Well, that sounds like a place for a poll question to me. Are you guys feeling the Adam and Sally reunion, or are you not into it? Go to yrchat.com this week and cast your vote. Let me know if you're buying it. Are you buying what Adam and Sally are selling, or are you blah? You got the blahs about it. It's a good question. Different topic. Sharon W. says, does anyone agree with me that Kyle and Nick might have a need to sign up for anger management classes? They both think they're the toughest guys in town. Someone needs to knock them down a peg or two. Guess once a bully, always a bully. Yes. The Kyle punching Tucker was such a Nick move, and I thought the exact same thing. Sharon W. literally had the exact same thought, like, oh, hello, Nick. I mean, Kyle. Although, if you think about it, Nick and Kyle are pretty much the same guy. Hot, dumb, heirs to the throne. Oh, Lord. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that. Hot, dumb, and rich works for me. Hot, dumb, and rich. It's a nice combination. Diana says, I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy seeing Kyle punch Tucker in the face. He really did deserve it in that moment. Oh, but Ellen notes, shouldn't Tucker have a black or swollen eye? There wasn't a scratch on him after being socked in the face by Kyle. They showed him being knocked off his feet and played a big cracking sound effect. Where's the satisfying shiner? I wanted to see Tucker with a big bag of ice dramatically pressed to his face and the evidence of the punch. Instead, nothing. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, he was absolutely perfect in the following episode with Ashley on Friday. No evidence of being hit whatsoever. Victoria says he had a tiny bit of blood on his finger, so the punch must have been in his mouth. I agree, though, with the impact of knocking him down. He should have had a very bloody mouth and some loose teeth. Yeah, I mean, he got knocked clear back. And there was nothing. Ellen responded, ooh, a missing tooth would have been hysterical. I want to see Tucker at the dentist and under the influence of anesthesia. Yes, that would have been so good. I do think the punch was in the mouth. So having Tucker show up in the next episode with like with a missing tooth, they could have put like the black paint over one of the teeth and made it look like he was missing a tooth from it, and then just have him mention that he went to the dentist in a following episode. Like, that would be the end all be all dramatic / comedic of all of the dramatic dude punches that we've had. Like, the guy gets hit in the mouth by the dramatic dude punch and then comes back with a missing tooth. Like, that would be so real and also so funny. And Tucker is the one to do it. He's the one that has those like dramatic / comedic chops. Like, that would have really set the punch over the edge if he would have come back up with the missing tooth, and then we would have followed it up in a couple episodes prior with him saying he went to the dentist. Like, oh, that would have been so good. Y&R, listen to that and put that in your pocket for another time. Someone else will need to punch Tucker eventually. Nick! I'm looking at you. Kyle already took his turn. Nick, can't you think of something to punch Tucker for? Sharon W. says, Tucker leans in toward Audra at the athletic club and says, Audra, please not you. Don't tell me you're walking away from me too. Audra responds by saying she's tired of his lovesick revenge. He tells her he's not lovesick and he can't do this without her. Writers, let him tell her that he loves her once and for all, because we all know he really has loved her all along. He loves her more than he has ever loved Ashley. He loved Ashley because she's a challenge, but he truly does love Audra, and she loves him. The look in her eyes shows how deeply she wants him to acknowledge that both of their feelings are the same. Let him tell her that he cannot live without her, say he wants to marry her, and fly to Vegas to get married. I know that's my quickie dream sequence wishful scenario, but it sounds fun. Chatters, please support me in this. Well, I support you, Sharon W. And, you've convinced me, because I think you're right. I think Tucker loves Audra more than Ashley. Ashley's a challenge. Ashley's almost just like the unattainable jewel at the top of the mountain, the thing that he's like Indiana Jones and he has to go down in the cave or something to retrieve the jewel of my beauty, and she's going to make him work for it. She's really going to, put him through the dust for it and make him fight for it. And in the end, he gets the jewel, and maybe it's just not what he wanted, because he kind of is he's the one that ended the relationship in Paris, any way you slice it. She said, I don't want to go after my family. I changed my mind. And for some reason, that was too much for him. It's like the classic, I get what I want, and then I don't want it anymore. And that's not the way that Tucker and Audra seem to operate. They're just simpatico. They just get each other for one reason or another. And there's challenge there, but it's not really about affection so much. So yeah, you've convinced me. I love it. I love the idea of them running away to Vegas together and just having like a cheesy Elvis wedding. Good one. Sharon W. also says, glad to see Audra did not let Ashley get the best of her. She told Ashley that Tucker is often frustrating. However, she tells her that she's never seen Tucker show the physical anger that Ashley's describing. Ashley stormed out while talking to Audra, and then later after talking to Tucker, she stormed out the very same way. This helps me to continue believing that Tucker's take on Paris restaurant, the scene, actually was the way that he described it. Oh, yeah, you could tell that Ashley did not get what she was looking for from that conversation with Audra or from the conversation with Tucker. But Gary says, it's such an odd state of affairs, the discrepancy Y&R is focusing on between Ashley and Tucker, with the same degree of anger that went down at the outdoor cafe in Paris. Both of these two are presenting the exact same step-by-step facts. One just says the level of ferociousness was more intense than the other. It's nothing. Get over it, Ashley. I don't think Tucker is trying to gaslight you. Will Ashley and Aunt Jordan end up in the same padded cell at Fairview? Ashley's concern over a mind snap is completely unjustified. Only famous fitness guru Jillian Michaels can replace Eileen Davidson as Ashley. What? Jillian Michaels as Ashley? There's got to be more. Was she on Housewives or something like that? There's got to be more to that. That seems like totally out of left field. But it's interesting that you're just absolutely not feeling this part of the story, that it's nothing, that it just doesn't, it's much ado about nothing. And Naomi agrees. She says, We see Ashley obsessing about this Paris Cafe argument every day for weeks now. Enough already. I'm tempted to knock over a few chairs and spill the wine just to get away from the flashbacks. Oh, I don't know what it is that I am enjoying it. Apparently, no one else is. Maybe that should have been the poll for the week. Let me know how you just stop by and tell me if you think that the Ashley Tucker argument is much ado about nothing, or if you're enjoying it as much as I am. Speaking of polls, though, last week I asked you if you liked Sharon's dream episode. 57% of you liked it. 43% of you did not like it. I'm actually kind of surprised. That's I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was a nice treat. I thought more people would like it. Michelle says 100% loved it. What's not to like? Breaking the fourth wall, a laugh track, a spooky David Lynch vibe. We so rarely get anything like that in Y&R. I'm all for knowing what's going on in Sharon's subconscious. Yeah, Michelle, that's how I feel. But Diana says, I voted no. Not so much because it was weird, but more so because it took up the entire episode. I never like the dream episodes because I find them too long. I wouldn't have minded if we saw her have the dream for a fraction of the episode. It would have been good to see a condensed version of Sharon's dream and then still have a regular episode with all the other characters. I'm now remembering that I did like last year's dream episode, even though it took up the entire show. I remember it being comical and enjoying seeing the characters being funny for a change. So now I think I just didn't like it because it was too weird. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, the length of it, yeah, where you're just wanting to get back to the stories, you want to see the stories that you came for, and all of a sudden you've got this weirdness. Yeah, I could see that. Naomi says, okay, Sharon is super happy for no real reason, except that she's now free from hunky no strings Chance, and she can now pursue Nick, but Nick could have been hers at any time. What am I missing here? Yeah, and Sharon W. says, I've never seen Sharon act so giddy, silly, and goofy. She almost seemed as if she may have been sharing Nikki's flask. That is so true. I noticed it. Sharon was over the top when she was talking to Nick about breaking up with Chance. She was using her body, and she was like, yeah, I'm totally okay, everybody. Yeah, this is the best decision I've had. Love is on the way for me. Yeah, it was almost like, or she's trying a little too hard, it seemed. Sharon W., who just had a lot of good comments this week, also says, sorry to say, I'm suspicious of the character Seth. He is entirely too happy-go-lucky and friendly. He really is too over the top to seem a serious sponsor. My theory is that he's on the outside working for Aunt Jordan. Yeah, again, Sharon W., exact same thought came from me. I'm like, I don't trust this guy. There's something weird about him. And then when Victor said, I don't know about your sponsor, I was like, yeah. I mean, when he showed up in the hotel room, I didn't like it. I felt uncomfortable with the fact that he was alone with Nikki. And Henry says, having had some experience with counseling regarding alcoholism, substance abuse, etc., when it comes to sponsorship, it is highly recommended that females have female sponsors and males have male sponsors. It's not a written rule, but just highly recommended. When I saw the episode, that just jumped out at me because of my involvement and the work I've done with recovering people. As aforementioned, we highly recommend that men sponsor men and women sponsor women. And yes, this is a soap, and it's really no big deal, just an observation. It's only make-believe, but just my opinion, to have Nikki's sponsor be female would have made the alcoholism/AA program storyline more realistic. Yeah, I'm sure there's maybe a multitude of reasons for that. But yeah, I think that's a really good perspective, Henry, that you actually have some experience with the AA program. Anything else that struck you, Henry, as being either very realistic or unrealistic about Nikki and her interaction with the AA program? Because we've seen her go to 2 meetings recently, and now we have this sponsor. So if you have any other insight to offer about that, I think that would be interesting to hear. Finally, ending note here, Diana says, Allie, I just wanted to ask you if we're going to be talking about the predictions we made last year for 2024. Diana, I'm so glad that you mentioned this because I completely blew it. I mean, I just totally forgot about predictions for the year. We've been doing this for, I don't even know how many years in a row we've been doing this. Probably like 5 to 7 years, and I just completely blew it this year and forgot all about it. I don't know what I was thinking. To tell you the truth, ever since I found out that my executive assistant was secretly plotting to kill me and my whole family, I have just had a really hard time keeping Y&R Chat together. But that being said, I've got that post up now where you can go and view the predictions that we made for 2024 and where you can leave your predictions where you can view the predictions from 2023 and leave your predictions for 2024. So I will do my best to put together a couple of the notable ones, anything that came true in 2023, and read off any of the ones that seem, extra kooky or plausible or whatever for 2024. So go to yrchat.com to not only leave your predictions for the upcoming year, but to see what we said last year. And also yrchat.com, that's where you can leave your comments. Just one final comment from me. I want to say happy birthday to Tony, whose birthday is tomorrow. Tony, I love you. I love when I see you've stopped by and left me some comments. You usually like those polls. You love a poll, Tony. And my poll is a big thumbs up for you. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. I love you. And I love all of you. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.